Welcome to Minding Your Business, the ProMontreal Entrepreneurs podcast, a program of Federation CJA. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis, Head of Entrepreneurship at ProMontreal Entrepreneurs. Each episode, we'll talk to business founders who found their way for PME, plus some words of wisdom from our mentors, and it might even be me.
In this episode, yet another guest that Catherine likes to refer to as a serial entrepreneur. That's coming up. But Catherine, what's coming up in February?
So in February, we're going to launch our masterclass series again. We've seen a lot of positive feedback, and entrepreneurs really love them. And we're going to deal with three topics that are hot off the presses. We're going to talk about how to integrate AI into your business practices. Another thing we're going to talk about is financial literacy. And then, of course, how to sell in a business. What are some of the things you need to do in order to boost up those sales?
Our guest this episode is a serial entrepreneur, Tatiano Romano. Her LinkedIn profile describes her as a multilingual and dynamic senior leader in project and change management. She started out as an architect, but is now, among many other things, a holistic wellness coach. Tatiano Romano, welcome to Minding Your Business.
Thank you for having me.
For listeners who don't know you yet, and they're going to get to know you, but you know when this is through, how do you describe what you do today?
I love technology, I love people, and I try to combine both as empathetically as possible.
Mm-hmm. You began your professional journey as an architect, which I'm very curious about. What was the thread that pulled you out of architecture, though, into entrepreneurship?
Passion for people. I would starve talking to people. I would spend a lot of time in front of the computer, and by the end of the day, I realized that the only people I spoke to was my senior architect, where I got approvals, and I would take the bus home and I would start talking to people. And in Moldova, that was a little bit creepy. People don't talk to each other.
Is that right?
Yes.
It's a different type of environment?
It's a little bit intrusive.
Okay.
And when people start talking to you, it's probably they want to sell you something or they want to get something from you. And me was just trying to get a social conversation.
Have like connections outside of that, yeah.
So you started out in Moldova.
Yes, I started out in Moldova. I went to work through the last 2 years of my architecture school. I then immigrated to Canada, where I worked in a general contractor office. That's where I also started as an architect. Hunger for communication. They saw the potential. I became a project manager where I managed the different projects that they were doing. We participated at different projects together. We did a hybrid home with shipping containers. And then we started building the restaurants. That's the company is known for. They renovated the different restaurants. And then a headhunter called me from the Bank of Montreal and offered me a job, say, would you like to work for the bank?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But then from all those work experiences, you launched a company, a construction company called Mika Design. And what gap did you see in the market? What propelled you to go from like stability? I have, a regular paycheck to, oh my goodness, I have no stability. Let me start a business.
Yeah, now that you put it this way, I'm wondering what was the motivation. But I think I was at the crossroad in my life where I was already married at that time, and my husband had his own company. He's a lawyer, so that allowed me a little bit of a freedom to go and venture into my own things. And I kind of thought, if I'm doing what I'm doing so well, why can't I do it directly for the people? And I wanted to work with the residential community, so the residential clients, and particularly people who want to renovate their homes. They want to change their homes after the flooding, or like a little fire, or something happened and they want a renovation, they want a new kitchen. And because I also went and got my master's in engineering, I wanted to create functional spaces for people. So
So you're a low achiever, right? You don't.
Well, I was just thinking the same thing.
You're a low achiever, and you look for opportunity. But you touched on something that was very interesting to me. You said, "I finally, I was in a place in my life where I wanted to try something new, something different." I'm paraphrasing, but the same thing happened when you immigrated here, and many times we see that. It's like risk taking, right? Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about that thing of risk taking.
Now that I'm thinking about it again, I don't know what I was thinking. Coming with 2 bags, $6,000, no security, no stability. I had no job offers, but I was in a good company. I had my brother and his wife, and having the support of the family. And I think throughout my life, I find that having a supportive family is very important. My mom was an entrepreneur since the great German wall fell out, Soviet Union fell apart. And I think seeing her being an entrepreneur and seeing how easily she does it, although I know it wasn't easy,
it inspired you?
Yeah, it kind of gave me the confidence that I can do it.
That's amazing. But then you had another big pivot. So you went from hey, I have this construction company, Mika Design. I have all these degrees. Let me start a wellness street. That's a big pivot. Like, what happened?
That's a huge pivot. How did you get into
is,
that?
What inspired it? I'm so curious.
I think it started in 2017, and I still remember that year. It was a very intense year in my career at the Bank of Montreal. We had a project that had to be delivered. I think it was like one of the biggest ones that I have ever done. In Halifax, 2 floors, over 80,000 square feet, 200 people, to move from one location to another, to a brand new. And being an overachiever and being a little bit OCD, I wanted that project to be good. I wanted everybody to be happy about their new space. And I realized that a lot of impact that you can do is by working with people. So it's not just the construction that is important, but it's also moving people and managing expectations on how they're going to work, moving from closed offices where everybody had their privacy into open workspace. And I think I like challenges. So I wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, when 200 people move into their new space, they're happy about their space. So I went above and beyond, having meetings with senior leaders, equipping them with the conversation tools that they can have with their managers, with their people that are on the floor.
Is that what inspired you to then start your business?
That was one of the things, because I realized that having an ability to talk to people and convincing them that this is what's good for you, it's important. So human element, you cannot, it's every single deal that you make.
Like the psychology behind it?
Yes.
Okay.
What motivates everyone to feel good in their job?
Yeah.
But then I also realized that I wasn't feeling good because I was anxious, I couldn't sleep.
You had an aha moment.
And I'm like, I'm so worried about them having a good experience that I'm not having a good experience. So I wanted to explore what would it take for a professional who is in project management, change management, working with people, to still do their job at 100%, but feel 100% as well. So I started exploring what makes you sleep, how that impacts you, how the mood impacts you. And
so that led you into wellness?
Into wellness, and I started learning about psychology and what motivates people and what's good, what's bad for you, what foods are good and bad for you. Because I think we have a tendency of coping a lot with sugars and alcohol and like different substances that might not be good for you.
That's true. Coping with sugar or alcohol. I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Or when you're bored and you go to your fridge.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So take me through some of that, because I find that fascinating. It's so different. What do you do concretely as a wellness coach for others? Who are some of the people you coach
As my path evolved from learning about myself, learning about the coping mechanisms that a person may have, I also learned about how we can impact them. And one of the tools that I learned and I became an instructor in, it's neurographica. It's a form of art therapy. Through different drawings, you are able to find a solution for a challenge, a problem, or a project that can inspire you to take steps that you might not have thought about. So this is the tool I'm using the most, but I'm also using different psychology tools, manifestations, visualization tools.
Yeah.
Or who are some of the people that you
Typically,
with?
they're women because they're a little bit more open to trying different things.
It's not wild, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I did have a couple of male clients as well.
That's cool.
Well, it's a fascinating time for something like that. I mean, people are a lot more open, and they have been for the past, maybe since the pandemic, maybe a little before, more open to psychological challenges in their lives, philosophy even. So it makes all the sense in the world that we're seeing more men sort of get into this.
Do you think that was related to the COVID pandemic and how people had like a, oh my goodness moment, right? Like life can be taken away, things can change. Do you think that it's related?
Possibly. This is why
that's
I say.
a good point.
Well, this is why I say it might have started to happen a little bit before.
Yeah.
Because people they were more concerned about their health, more concerned
Yep.
about, sleep became a thing.
Yep.
And even before the pandemic, people started to, well, I'm cutting out sugar and alcohol. Well, good for you. you know?
Or Sober October.
Yes.
Sober October. Yeah, Tatiana, you really, the word I'm looking for is you really inspire me. And I'm wondering, you're very impressive. How do you know, like, when it's time to reinvent yourself? How do you know, like, what happens? Is it like a little something you feel? Is it something you see? Like, walk us through that.
It's definitely a feeling that you get. And it's also, it's going to sound a little bit la-la, so pardon those who are a little bit more science-oriented. The universe talks to you. The right people come into your field. The right people start talking to you. I think every time I change jobs or every time I had an opportunity, it's people coming to me saying, hey, I have this. Would you like to be a part of it? And if that resonates with me, if that's something where I can see myself and I can see making an impact, for sure, I'll jump on that.
Wow, and being open to those types of, I totally like. It's true, eh? When you leave, if you're open to it, you can see, you can hear and see those opportunities. It's just like when you start a business, other people will get irritated, but an entrepreneur will see the opportunity and shift that irritation to opportunities. Shift it into, let's investigate this.
Yeah, well,
what's
that's
going on
something
there?
I learned a lot talking with you and doing this podcast, absolutely. And at the same time, what you're talking about is, whether you realize it or no, you're letting the universe know that you're ready for a new challenge.
Absolutely.
So the universe is responding. And I know that's kind of, to say what you say, it sounds a little la-la, but I believe that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you sometimes wonder, how do the right people show up in your life?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a perfect example. I wanted to invest into a property, and my husband and I were debating where to. And I worked the neurographic, because I do what I preach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a drawing and I say, okay, let the right person come into my eyesight or come into my field. And the Shabbat dinner, then like 3 hours later, I'm going to my brother's for Shabbat dinner. And typically we don't have guests, but that time they had a guest who was a realtor. So we had a conversation. We didn't strike a deal then, but that's somebody who I'm still in touch. And I'm just showing that if the universe wants you to meet somebody, it's going to work itself out. This person is going to show up magically.
That's amazing.
So when and how did the universe bring you mindset?
That's amazing. That's a great segue. Yes. How did that happen?
Yes. So I think it was January 2023, I think. I had somebody, I had a friend reach out to me and say, hey, Tatiana, we are starting a company and would you like help me build it? I thought about it. I always was curious about IT. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm curious about technology. Even at the bank, the last 3 years, I was more an IT person than I was a project management person. I helped develop a software. I helped pull the processes together. And knowing what I do, the person reached out and say, hey, would you like to help me build the company? And then it was just an invitation that I could not say no to.
Well, can you tell us more about what Mindsec is and what you do there?
Absolutely. It is a fantastic young company fueled by people who have a vision. We do cybersecurity compliance, and we try to automate as much as possible so that the companies don't have to spend the time and money, which typical compliance takes about 1.5 years to get a certification. We have a proven track record. It takes 4 to 6 months to do it.
Wow.
And half the time, a quarter of the money that a typical consultant
What
charges.
surprised you the most about working in an AI operating a cybersecurity world? What was that?
I think it's working with different teams, wearing multiple hats, and having to pivot every single day. And
Every single day?
Every single day. And you're sometimes coming into a customer meeting and you see that the product has been updated and you didn't have a chance to look at the changes. So you're kind of on the spot thinking, oh, okay, yeah, this is a new feature we're deploying, by the way. And kind of really pivoting on a spot.
And how do you manage all these multiple ventures while on all these multiple ventures, but then at the same time you're in all these different industries? Like how do you do it? Do you sleep?
Well, it's a great question because you also have a family.
Yeah, and I volunteer.
Yeah, she volunteers. Social life, I'm assuming.
Yes,
anyway,
I try to have one.
So,
I think is because every venture that I have started from a passion. Once you have that vision, the way that it worked for me is I waited like a little volcano until it erupts. And once it erupts, it just falls into place magically and the right thing. Because, for example, for Mika Design, I managed to find the right person who does impeccable work. All I have to do is provide my license, provide the administration work, which for me is a breeze. And that other person, he says, I don't want anything to do with that. Fantastic. We agree. We found each other.
Yeah.
So he does the labor and I do the admin, which for me is very easy. For the wellness, I can't even say it's a job because
you love it so much.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it's such a pleasure to serve people that way. And every time I have a client session or I have a workshop that is coming this Sunday, I can't say that I'm working. It's such a pleasure. It's like I'm having fun and I'm getting paid for it. Amazing.
Yeah. Find something you love doing and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
That's such a great saying.
But how do you fit it all in? Like to what extent does what you give to your clients as a wellness coach, how do you give yourself that? You say you practice what you preach.
Yes.
But, not to repeat, but how do you fit it all in? How do you get enough sleep? How are you not working in front of an open refrigerator?
Well, I think I was able to not program, it's schedule certain things.
Yes.
So scheduling and being on point, being very careful with, intentional with my time. I'm very intentional with my time. And if something I see that is not serving me, I'm very ruthless at cutting it out. I have
Great
outsourced.
advice.
Yes, and you have to be. So when somebody is late to the meeting, I made sure that this is the first and the last time, unless I really want something from them.
Yes.
But,
Yeah. Being intentional with your time is a big thing.
Yeah.
Like one thing that we all have, doesn't matter how rich you are, it's the same amount of hours in a day, and what you choose to do with it is a big thing. But I have a question. What is for all the founders listening? What is the one wellness tip that you wish more founders would incorporate?
I would say two.
Okay.
One, outsource the mundane tasks that you do not want to do, like cooking, cleaning, things that do not require your time.
Yeah.
Outsource it as much as possible. You better pay that $40 an hour for somebody to do the job that doesn't need to be done by you. And only do what really brings you joy, or you're really good at it, so it brings you money. So that's the operational thing. The second thing is absolutely the mental wellness or mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Do
It's a
something
big problem.
do something for you. Make sure you get enough sleep. Make sure, if you don't get enough sleep, make sure your vitamins are balanced. Talk to somebody. And I am a strong believer of counseling and having a therapist, multiple actually, with the different approaches. And we all have a friend, Audrey, and I strongly recommend multidisciplinary approach to mental health, because there is not one single thing that works for everybody. You have to try multiple things and see what works for you.
Yeah, from Brightside, from Breakthrough Counseling, Audrey, she came with us to Israel. But I have to say, one of the biggest things I see with entrepreneurs is the toughness, the impact on mental health when things aren't going great, or when you're spending all this time away from your family, your friends, building this thing. It can be a very lonely road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Because it all falls on your shoulders.
It does. And a lot of my role as a business coach is like normalizing this is like, it does take time. This is normal, because you get so stuck in your day to day, you don't realize that this is the path. Everybody thinks, I have a business idea, I'll get funding, and it's done. There's so many obstacles.
Yeah.
So mental health is a huge component that I wish more people talked about. It's a big
And
thing.
you're not alone. And something to, I would say, to all the founders or even all the people who are in the executive positions, you're not alone. Everybody is struggling. Get help. Like, it's not something to be embarrassed about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's no point in like, I can do this, and if you need help, get the help you need, and it's a normal thing. And I wish that more people would talk about it, because really all the people I talk about, they're all saying the same thing. They're not necessarily correlating one with the other, but having a hard day, being anxious, having bouts of depression, loneliness, all of that is all tied to mental health. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
And there are coaches, there are tools, even not necessarily psychologists, but even talk to a wellness coach who will tell you there are different tools on regulating your cortisol, which once you have the cortisol spike, then that's where your brain doesn't think the way efficiently as it normally does. So there are ways physically, medically, or
With
maybe even
supplements.
the supplements, even just breathing.
Yeah.
And we did different exercises in our trip to Israel, like the 4-4-4. This is such an easy thing to do. Like,
Yes.
you don't even need to get out of your desk.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I'm sure you must come across people who are entrepreneurs of one form or another who are resistant to that kind of thinking. I don't have
Yes.
time for square
Well, it's
breathing.
seen as weakness from a lot of people, and it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
it's really not. It's really not. And again, because it's such a lonely road when you're building a business, because you're doing it by yourself. Even when you're in a partnership, you're alone, and a lot of people around you don't understand the loneliness, and it's a real issue, and a lot of people deal with it. Yeah.
And I think, to answer your question, I do meet a lot of people who would say to me, and I actually have a very close example, who would tell me, oh, this is your Lala thing. I'm like, well, how about you try it?
Yes.
And he doesn't. He does. He will probably never admit it, but he does do the exercises, and then he comes to me. I'm like, oh, you were right.
Fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many aspects and sides to your life. I want to talk about that. We talked a little bit about this before we began recording the podcast, but in 2022, you and your family opened up your home, and even, if I'm not mistaken, renovated your home
Yeah.
to bring in people who were coming here from
Incredible.
Ukraine.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's something that I'm so grateful to my husband. And I'm from Moldova, but my parents were from Ukraine. So every summer we would spend in Crimea. We would visit people in Ukraine, and I have very strong ties to Ukraine. And when we found out that the war was happening and that it was real, it's not something that would last 2-3 days, I asked my husband, can we open our home to people who would want to flee the Ukraine? He has not hesitated a second. And he said, absolutely, yes, but we need to renovate.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we've changed pretty much the entire second floor to accommodate an extra bathroom, to separate a big living room that we had into
to give people space,
yeah,
so they can have
private
dignity.
space, dignity. It was so important for me because I'm not offering a shelter, just a roof. I want them to feel comfortable, and I want them to feel like really dignity, give them dignity. It's
Like they had a new home.
exactly.
When
And a
theirs
new
was taken
family.
away, eh?
And the new family.
Aw.
Yeah.
And I'm very close, and I might be a little bit emotional when I talk. I'm still very close with almost most of the graduates of the Windermere Refuge.
That's right. That's what you were calling it.
Yes,
right?
yeah, Windermere Refuge. And the first families that arrived, actually the first 3 families that arrived, I'm still in touch with every one of them. I know of their dogs, of their the new cars that they bought and the lives that they've built, and I'm so proud of them, every single one of them. One family that had a boy who was in a wheelchair at the time when they arrived. He is walking, he is running, he is participating in kayak polo. That's my sport.
That's amazing. Yeah.
He's actually using my boat.
Wow,
That's
it's so,
fantastic.
it's so must be so rewarding.
So
eh?
rewarding, so rewarding.
Amazing.
And how many of them kind of benefited from your knowledge as a wellness coach, as an entrepreneur?
We had a long conversation. There was one particular couple who was very open, and I'm going to talk about the woman in that couple because she's very in touch with her emotions, and she went to a therapist before. So even the other week, I was talking to her, and we were chatting in terms that would like psychologists talk or therapists would talk, and we had long conversations, and I confided into her how I'm afraid, because there was one family with 4 kids, and I was afraid, and there was no mom. So I was afraid to project my motherly needs into these children, and I want to make sure that they get the support, but I'm not replacing their mother.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation with her where she kind of coached me and said, okay, no, you're good. Because even people who are in wellness, they still need a coach.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Absolutely. That's incredible, Tatiana.
Yeah,
You're so impressive.
Thank you.
Well, let's end by turning it around and asking you, in the spirit of what this podcast is all about, what advice you would have for young entrepreneurs?
Don't be afraid. You're going to fail, not once, not twice. Don't be afraid. At the end of the day, if you follow your heart, if you follow what makes you happy, you'll find a unique combination that is you. Don't be afraid. Go for it.
That's great advice.
Absolutely. Tatiana, thank you so much for doing this. Wellness coach, Mika Designs, Mindset. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
For our Mentor Minute this episode, let's take you to Ben Gurion University in Israel, and here's Koren Maor.
Hello, my name is Koren Maor. I'm from Israel. I'm 31 years old. Currently, I work in the Entrepreneurship Center of Ben Gurion University, and I also run an educational venture called Connect, where we use second language acquisition process as an educational tool to empower teenagers and kids. So I work mainly like in the education field, both academic and also teenagers. And one tip that I can maybe share from my entrepreneurial process is I've started Connect by myself, and it was a very lonely road for like the first 3 years. So a good tip, really try to find good partners at the beginning to go with. I know there's now like those solopreneurs that you can do everything by yourself. You have AI agents, sure, but I mean, mentally, I would suggest do have a partner, and even if they're not like really part of the business, even like a mentor or someone to talk to share, because it's a difficult road.
Catherine, for anyone who is interested in the mentoring and guidance that ProMontreal Entrepreneurs has to offer, how do they sign up?
So all they have to do is visit our website at www.promontrealentrepreneurs.org and fill out an application form. And they can also call us at 514-345-6419, and we'll be happy to take their call and see how we can help them.
And that is our time. For more information on ProMontreal Entrepreneurs or any other Federation CJA programs, follow us on social at ProMontrealEntrepreneurs.org or at FederationCJA.org. Minding Your Business is a production of Federation CJA. Executive producers are Glenn J. Nashin and Catherine Korakakis. Technical production by Daniel Moskovich. The Minding Your Business podcast. Subscribe, download, listen, and share wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dan Laxer.
And I'm Catherine Korakakis.
Minding Your Business, ProMontreal Entrepreneurs, bringing ideas to life.